Welcome to Hero Villains. Who do you think would win when Hercules versus Gladiator? Who is the strongest? When gods and the universe collide, Hercules is the son of Zeus, a being who carries within him nearly limitless divine power. He is renowned for physical strength far beyond the standards of ordinary superheroes, capable of confronting Hulk, Thor, and many other high-tier entities head-on. Hercules' power does not come solely from muscle, but also from extraordinary endurance, rapid recovery, and a warrior spirit forged through thousands of years of battle. In close combat, he is the embodiment of raw strength, with every strike carrying the might of an Olympian god. Gladiator, whose real name is Kallark, is the leader of the Shi'ar Empire and one of the most powerful beings in the Marvel Universe. Gladiator's strength is directly tied to his belief in himself. When his will is unwavering, he possesses strength and speed equal to or surpassing Superman, able to tear through space, withstand planet-level explosions, and traverse space in the blink of an eye. In addition, his enhanced senses and powerful energy attacks from his eyes make him a threat at both close and long range. Before we dive deeper into the analysis, please press the subscribe button and remember to turn on notifications by clicking the bell icon. Thank you very much. The power of Heracles has never been confined to mere muscle or raw physicality. He is regarded as the greatest hero among the sons of Zeus, an existence that combines strength, speed, willpower, and endurance. Heracles not only confronted but defeated Ares twice in direct combat, leaving the god of war wounded and forced to retreat back to Olympus. These victories carry special significance, as Homer described Ares as the fastest god among the Olympians, a symbol of speed and unstoppable violence. Heracles overcoming Ares therefore means he possessed speed and reflexes sufficient to match, and even overwhelm, a true god of war. Heracles' durability far exceeds all known limits. The deadly venom of the Hydra could not kill him, but instead trapped him in unending agony. This was not weakness, but the tragedy of an immortal. Because he was granted immortality as a reward for his feats and sacrifices, that pain became eternal, without an end. Heracles choosing to burn himself was not an act of despair, but the final decision of a hero who had endured for far too long. Heracles is famous not only for overwhelming strength, but also as a master of all forms of combat, whether unarmed fighting or armed warfare. From his outward appearance alone, he radiates the presence of a son of Zeus. His towering physique and blazing eyes seem to carry the will of the heavens, and every movement holds an authority that makes his opponents hesitate. In ranged combat, Heracles almost never misses his target. Whether with a bow or a thrown spear, his strikes are always precise and decisive. After mastering archery under Eurytus, Heracles was gradually granted divine relics worthy of his stature by the Olympian gods. Hermes gave him a razor-sharp sword, Apollo bestowed upon him a bow and sacred arrows, Hephaestus forged a golden breastplate for him, and Athena protected him with a cloak imbued with wisdom and strategy. As for his legendary club, Heracles crafted it with his own hands in Nemea, a declaration that his strength came not only from the gods, but also from his personal will. With all these abilities, Heracles became a rare demigod, capable of standing shoulder to shoulder with the gods in war. According to ancient records, he was Zeus's most trusted ally in the great war between Olympus and the giants born of Gaia. There, Heracles fought not only with strength, but with experience, resolve, and the spirit of a legend who knew he was born to bear the fate of both gods and mortals. What gives Heracles true depth is his rare humility. Despite possessing the power to impose his will on anyone, he never avoided responsibility when he made mistakes. Whenever he caused harm to others, Heracles always sought atonement of his own accord, without coercion or external judgment. At one point, to atone for his wrongdoing, Heracles accepted an almost unthinkable choice. He allowed Hermes to sell him into slavery for a period of time, placing himself in the lowest possible position to bear the consequences of his own actions. Hercules is regarded as the being with the greatest physical prowess among the Olympian gods. This strength places Hercules alongside absolute icons of the universe, such as Hulk and Thor, especially in hand-to-hand confrontations where endurance, striking power, and warrior instinct determine everything. Like Atlas or Gilgamesh, Hercules wields power that is nearly without limit, sufficient to bear immense weights, even to support the sky in both symbolic and literal terms. Hercules is often mentioned as one of the most powerful beings ever to walk the world. At certain moments, he has even overpowered both Sentry and Ares in direct contests of raw strength. Hercules' base strength is described as sufficient to drag the entire island of Manhattan, with an estimated mass of nearly 100 million tons. Hulk can reach this level, but only when his rage peaks. Sentry remains an unanswered question without a definitive conclusion. Hyperion once held two universes apart through sheer strength, perhaps setting a different kind of record. Even so, Hercules has always stood at the center of pure strength and indomitable warrior spirit. Even when Zeus offered to elevate him to godhood and intended to place him among the 12 supreme Olympian gods, Heracles chose to refuse. He understood that such a position would mean another god would be replaced. To Heracles, glory was never worth the loss of another. That choice defined him not only as a symbol of strength, but as the embodiment of noble character, a hero who bowed to moral principle even after reaching the peak of power. After countless legendary feats, Heracles ultimately arrived at the fateful moment of his life. When the flames rose upon the funeral pyre, Zeus elevated him from the status of a demigod to a complete god, as the ultimate reward for years of unending battle and suffering. Yet, the path to that ascension began with a tragedy steeped in pain and misunderstanding. Deianira believed that the blood of Nessus was a love charm capable of binding her husband's heart to her forever. She soaked it into a cloak and gave it to Heracles as he prepared to offer a sacrifice. When the garment touched his body and warmth spread through it, the Hydra's poison hidden within immediately awakened, corroding his flesh like the fires of hell. In unbearable agony, Heracles lost control, seized leeches with his foot and hurled him onto a rocky promontory, then tore at the cloak that had fused to his skin, ripping his flesh away in blood and despair. Heracles was brought back to Trachis in a pitiful state, while Deianira, upon realizing the truth, chose death to atone for her sin. Before leaving the mortal world, Heracles summoned Hylas, his eldest son, entrusted him with his final words, and committed the fate of Iolae to his care. He then climbed Mount Oeta on his own, built the funeral pyre, and stepped upon it with an almost uncanny calm. When the fire was lit, his mortal body was consumed, while the indomitable spirit of Heracles ascended to Olympus, closing the tragedy of a hero and opening the immortality of a god. I sincerely hope you will subscribe to the channel. It would help us greatly, and you are truly amazing. Thank you very much. Now let us talk about Gladiator. Kallark, known by the title Gladiator, is the supreme praetor of the Shi'ar Imperial Guard, a symbol of the power and discipline of an entire galactic empire. He serves the Magister or Magistrix, the holder of the Shi'ar throne, with absolute and unwavering loyalty. To Gladiator. The commands of the Imperial Crown are not merely duties but matters of existential belief, binding his personal honor directly to the fate of the Empire. Born a Strontian, Kallark underwent a special enhancement process reserved for elite warriors. This transformation not only amplified the innate abilities of his species, but also allowed him to survive in the vacuum of space, endure extreme pressure, and unleash physical power on a truly extraordinary level. Because of this, the Galadorian Space Knight icon classified Gladiator as Alpha Plus, a rating reserved only for entities that stand near the apex of cosmic power. Gladiator's strength possesses a trait that is both unique and dangerous. His physical power, durability, and resistance to injury are tightly bound to his inner confidence. When his belief in himself is unshakable, Gladiator is almost impossible to stop. But the moment doubt creeps in, that power can diminish rapidly. In moments of uncertainty, he can even be harmed by opponents far beneath him in rank. This contrast turns Gladiator into a warrior who is both terrifying and tragic, where psychology and power become one, defining the line between invincibility and collapse. Gladiator is the embodiment of physical strength that is nearly immeasurable, to the point that his true limits remain something no one has been able to clearly define. Gladiator's punches have been powerful enough to destroy entire planets, reducing massive worlds to cosmic dust in an instant. What makes this strength truly distinctive is its direct connection to his mental state. The more absolute his self-confidence, the more terrifying he becomes, as if belief itself were the fuel that drives his power beyond all barriers. Across countless battles, he has left behind feats that make the entire universe wary. Colossus was defeated effortlessly, as though he were nothing more than a test of strength. The thing fell after only 2 punches, unable to mount any resistance. When facing Hyperion, Gladiator used his bare hands to nullify the force of the blows, then focused all his strength to break his opponent's back in a single devastating finishing strike. Even Vulcan, an Omega-level mutant, was blinded in one eye and beaten into unconsciousness within that storm of power. In his clash with the Fantastic Four, Gladiator once tore the Baxter Building from the ground, turning the iconic structure into a temporary weapon. Kallark, Gladiator's son, once stated that he had personally witnessed his father tear black holes apart. As unbelievable as that claim may sound, it reflects how Gladiator's power is perceived, not merely as muscle, but as a force capable of bending even the harshest laws of the universe. Beyond his overwhelming physical strength, Gladiator also possesses a highly destructive offensive ability originating from his eyes. He can project energy beams compressed to near perfection, turning his gaze into a lethal weapon. The true temperature of these beams has never been clearly defined, but recorded observations suggest they can far exceed the heat of stars. The clearest evidence of this is that they are capable of scorching the skin of Hulk, a being famously almost immune to heat and energy. In brutal confrontations, Gladiator's eye beams do not only deal direct damage, but can also disrupt the abilities of his opponents. When he clashed with Hyperion, that surge of energy neutralized his opponent's atomic vision and created a violent explosion that left both of them stunned for a moment. This was not merely power, but a collision between peak energy sources. Like many of Gladiator's other abilities, the destructive level of these heat beams is closely tied to his mental state. When his self-belief reaches an absolute state, that gaze becomes blazing, and nothing can stand in its way. But the moment hesitation appears, that heat diminishes as well, turning supreme power into a double-edged blade. Gladiator stands as a force capable of bending the order of the universe itself. He possesses the ability to push planets out of their natural orbits and even cause massive stars to collapse. Gladiator once stopped an explosion powerful enough to wipe out half of a solar system. What is remarkable is that he not only withstood the destructive force, but actively restrained and neutralized it. That act demonstrates that Gladiator unleashed his full potential. Kallark is regarded as the equal of Beta Ray Bill, who in turn stands on par with Thor, a being once considered by eternity to be a threat to the vast structure of the universe. Gladiator also possesses speed far beyond ordinary standards. He can move at hypersonic velocities, many times faster than the speed of sound, leaving opponents almost unable to perceive his movements. Gladiator has attacked members of the Starjammers and the Guardians of the Galaxy before they could react, and struck the Human Torch before the flames even had time to ignite. In that instant, power and speed merge into one, turning Gladiator into an unavoidable storm on the cosmic battlefield. His near invulnerability renders almost all biological and environmental threats meaningless. Disease, infection, pollution, corrosive substances, and conventional radiation cannot affect him. Gladiator's body also possesses impressive regenerative abilities, allowing damaged cells and tissues to recover after fierce battles. Even so, this power has its limits, as lost organs or limbs cannot be fully restored. When he was once defeated by the champion through the Power Gem, Gladiator required a significant period of time to recover, demonstrating that even the most powerful beings must pay a price when they reach the limits of their endurance. After centuries of existence, he bears almost no mark of time, standing as an immortal warrior, enduring through ages and unending wars. In the silent void of the universe, Hercules manifests as the war god of Olympus. Shrouded in the radiance of ancient myth, every muscle upon his body bears the mark of countless campaigns, of thousands of years forged in blood, fire, and glory. Opposite him, Gladiator, leader of the Shi'ar Imperial Guard, stands firm like a living fortress. His power does not come from magic or mysticism, but is nurtured by absolute belief in himself. No taunts are needed, no grand declarations are spoken. A single glance is enough for the universe to understand that this encounter can end only when one warrior falls. Hercules strikes first. The opening punch, infused with Olympian divine power, tears through space itself. its shockwaves spreading far enough to shake distant planets. Gladiator takes the full force of the blow, his body hurled thousands of kilometers away, yet he quickly regains his balance, his eyes igniting with fierce battle intent. What follows is a pure clash of muscle and might. The two warriors unleash relentless physical blows, each collision turning the battlefield into a storm of chaotic energy. Hercules gradually releases his godly power, a force drawn not only from physical strength, but from an immortal nature and the experience of a god who has faced countless foes. Gladiator answers with near light-speed movement, star-level endurance, and flawless combat ability within the vacuum of space. Yet, Hercules soon recognizes the crucial flaw. Gladiator's power fluctuates with his mental state. Every lapse in rhythm, every fleeting doubt causes his strikes to falter. Hercules begins to press the attack, forcing his opponent to confront his own uncertainty. When Gladiator's confidence reaches its peak, he erupts with power capable of crushing an entire planet. But a single moment of hesitation, a single thought of whether he can truly overcome the god before him, causes that surge of power to stall. Hercules does not hesitate. He channels all of his divine strength into a single blow, without spectacle or flourish, only the raw and absolute power of the war god of Olympus. Gladiator falls in silence, not because he lacked power, but because his strength depended on a belief that could never be allowed to waver. Amid the shattered remnants of the battlefield, Hercules stands breathing heavily yet unbowed, affirming that ancient myth still possesses the power to subdue even the mightiest warriors of the cosmos. The winner is Hercules. I hope you enjoyed this battle. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section. Follow me if you enjoyed it. That is today's video. Thank you very much.